Thanks for staying with us here on the Joy News Prime. Now, the global pandemic, COVID-19, has been with us for some time now. We all know. Now, world leaders and tech companies are working around the clock to find solutions in response to the pandemic or minimize its impact on human lives and economies. The challenge now is making it through the new normal we're all experiencing, such as working from home, social distancing, wearing a face mask in public, washing hands with soap and running water, and cleaning your hands with alcohol-based hand sanitizers is a rule that has come to stay so that we can all stay safe. Technology has been central to finding a solution to making life easier for people and businesses since the declaration of the pandemic. With me in the studio tonight to discuss how we are using technology to fight COVID-19. First, via Zoom, I have Ameyal Deborah. He's a tech and social media influencer, a blogger, and founder of Ameyal Deborah Media. Of course, we all know Ameyal Deborah. Welcome. We also have Philip Ashong, technology journalist and analyst, also joining us via Zoom. Welcome, Philip. And then in the studio, I have Kweku Esuman Kwansa. He's a chief technical officer, career business, Huawei, Ghana. Grateful to have you in the studio as well, Mr. Kwansa.
It's a pleasure.
So, gentlemen, thanks for keeping me in company tonight. But I'm curious how COVID has been treating you. I want to find out from Philip first. Philip, how has COVID treated you?
Well, it's changed the way I view a lot of things currently. Everything from the technologies that I interact with to how I publish my stories, how I gather my news, how I interact with my guests on my radio show, for example. I mean, it's changed everything. And I think it's very instructive that we always keep in mind the lessons that we are picking up from our COVID experience so that, you know, we can adapt all these new tools that are being made available to us. I mean, gone are the days when I would have been in the studio with you. But now, because of social distancing and because of the capability of Zoom and other video conferencing platforms, I'm able to sit here in my office and have these interactions with you. And I think that, you know, for me as a technology journalist, it's been incredible, really.
Sure has been. Ameyal, how has blogging been in the COVID season?
Well, it's been interesting. I mean, for us, we're able to blog anywhere we are. But in the last 2 years, I sort of put up a team where they do publish on the website in addition to create content, video content. And so far, in terms of the handling the website content, because it's easy to do it remotely, all they need is internet. So we've sort of done that quite well. But when it comes to the video production, that's where, we've had a little bit of a difficulty. And so we don't produce regularly like we would. We now only produce very specific content that we have to do within the time. So, yeah.
On a lighter note, we want to check that cough too. Yeah, we want to check that. But Mr. Kwansa, we've been chatting on what you've been doing this COVID period, working from home and staying disciplined. I'm sure you briefly want to touch on that too with us.
Interestingly, at this period, what I miss most are the very basic need for human connection. Being able to see, spend time with our family and friends. It's been challenging, but I think that in order for us to beat the pandemic, we would have to adhere to these strict rules in order to beat the pandemic.
Okay, so we get straight into it. At this point, I'm very interested in national connectivity in the COVID season. So as a person in network and mobile telephony, what has been the impact of COVID-19 on national connectivity? So, first and foremost, because of around the world there are stay-at-home orders, so primarily what has happened is there's a lot of increase in traffic. The more users are doing more on their network because they are stuck at home. And as a result of that, networks are also facing enormous pressures. We see that video services, working from home applications, like what you are using to call, gaming, these are all increasing a lot. So as far as the COVID is concerned,
this has brought about a lot of traffic, around 30 to 60% increase in traffic globally. And also at the same time, it has presented new opportunities, especially in the ICT space. Okay. So I would say there are challenges, but of course, challenges give us the opportunity to grow.
Innovate, well, of course. But as a blogger, Amel, how, with global reach, we all know that. How has this affected industry in general, you would say?
Impact has been amazing. I mean, very heavy. According to the IMF's forecast last month, the global GDP growth rate will drop to some -3% in 2020. So it shows you how much the impact is going to be felt globally. In Ghana, we've sort of had this, we felt it in various sectors. The entertainment and creative art space has, of course, had to cancel a lot of major activities like the Ghana Music Awards. For instance, Easter in Kwel, which is an annual big event, this year didn't happen. So the pandemic has sort of brought a lot of challenges, but in it also various industries would have to find ways to sort of deal with it now, and then also how to, in the near future, come out of it. Retail, catering, accommodation, tourism, transport, culture, entertainment industry have all experienced a sharp decline in revenue. I think the manufacturing industry has also been very, very slow. I remember when we even had the lockdown, there were exemptions for people who work in the manufacturing sector, and they had to cut down a number of people who were going to work and all of that. So this large-scale shutdown of enterprises has led to a sharp drop in power demand and all of that.
Okay.
And one of the opportunities that have come out is also for us to find alternative ways of sort of doing business. And we've seen a rise in people working from home. Online education has sort of propped up as an alternative for people to look at the education. We also have online medical and all of that. So these have been some of the challenges on the economy, as well as maybe some of the opportunities that lie therein.
Wow, the impact has been enormous though, but what does this mean for the digital ecosystem? Philip, as a tech journalist.
Well, I mean, I wouldn't have to go very far. I am connecting with you via Zoom. If that is not a testament of the impact, you know, of ICT on our daily lives and the tech ecosystem, I don't know what really is. But I mean, even beyond that, when you look around the world, you look at countries like China and Germany, all these other countries are using and adapting ICT tools within this pandemic period in some very, very amazing ways. We're talking in terms of e-health or health tech. We're talking in terms of even the farmers and the way they are adapting technology. We saw that before the pandemic. We were seeing a sharp rise in that. When you go to the hospitals, that the connections that doctors need to establish with other doctors in other regions, we are seeing a lot of collaboration, you know, and it's incredible that with all of this coming together, you just sometimes wonder what is happening with access and how fast people can get access to some of these platforms. There's going to be obviously a lot of people, and I believe the communication minister and some other, you know, members of the tech ecosystem have come up to talk about it. The fact that for a lot of places you realize that internet speeds are reducing, but it's just because there are so many people who have logged on at one particular time, and therefore we need more space to be able to get more people to use the internet. And I believe that what this has shown us is that there are clear opportunities available within the space, but then there are also some loopholes that need to be fixed. You know, so whereas these opportunities exist, these loopholes are something that I'm guessing will give technology entrepreneurs across the country a sense of an opportunity, possibly, about some of the solutions they can think about and create within this particular period.
Okay. Well, let me come to you, Mr. Kwanzaa. I'm very interested in Huawei Ghana because of the restrictions on movement has resulted in huge voice and data traffic. What are technology giants like yourself doing to ensure that to contain the huge load, for instance, when it comes to data traffic?
Okay, so actually we work with the telecom service providers and to optimize their networks. So remember I said because of the stay-at-home orders, user behavior is changing. So people are staying home. Traffic is shifting from the central business district into the residential areas.
Yeah.
At the same time, there's huge demand. So even the peak periods of networks are shifting. Because now during the day, in the morning up to 10 a.m., we see a surge in the traffic volumes. So actually, we are working together with the telecom service providers to optimize the network, make good use of the resource as is. Again, we also work together with our service providers to expand the networks. So we do fast deployments with them, and this expansion also enables them to make use of the policies that have also been announced by the government in favor of improving the connectivity in the country.
So one thing I have noticed is that the whole epidemic, the government and enterprises have accelerated the execution of the favorable policy in ICT, National Communications Network, and the application of emerging technologies, not only preparing for the subsequent epidemic control, but also driving the digital transformation of various industries for quick economic recovery. So Philip, what are some of the key policies and programs that are helping us fight against COVID-19 with technology in mind?
Well, I mean, there have been quite a number, but for me, key among some of these, for example, is the release of the 3 months of the temporary spectrum that the government announced for MTN and Vodafone because they bear the brunt of a lot of the traffic. I believe that was a very, very important intervention by the government. One of the things that also really caught my eye was using technology to help the Ghana Health Service. So there was the establishment of the emergency communication services, basically where people could be located using either their mobile numbers or their GPS locations in case there was a service supposed to be rendered to them, or even in contact tracing. And I think that was also a very key input from the government. What I also found very interesting was the establishment of offices. And I was very, very impressed with this from the Communications Ministry, where public service personnel could actually connect, to a system to be able to get their work done. And I thought that was very, very, very impressive. And I believe at the last press conference, the Minister of Communications actually indicated about 20,000 workers were on the platform, were able to connect, and either through voice or through video to get work done remotely from their homes. Previously, we wouldn't have had that, and their adoption rate, I believe, has been pretty incredible. We have also seen the launch of the COVID app, the symptom tracker app, which initially
a number of them have popped up, though.
I believe they worked to try and correct that, and I think that all these things clearly show a government that wants to try to do its very best to fix the problem using all these ICT tools that are available.
I'm itching to hear from Ameya Deborah also on how this whole thing is influencing. They're using technology to influence lifestyle, entertainment, and social media in the fight against the pandemic.
Well, I think our sector has been the one that has kept everybody entertained and sort of sane, because, with all the information that's going on, it can be very draining mentally. But I think apart from the obvious use of some of these platforms to disseminate even the important news of what's happening around the virus and keeping people up to date, even on social media, you realize that all the ministries are very active. They're putting information out there. Even when they're having press conferences, they're doing live streaming and all of that. So I think that space has sort of has been very good in terms of spreading information around the virus. And I mean, with the help of technology, we've also seen a lot of virtual concerts. So people who maybe shows that were supposed to happen, like the 3 Music Awards, now couldn't be held, and so they had to find alternative ways of doing it. And technology now allows it. Of course, that TV-wise, it's there already, but also now technology allows you to stream this content on social media, on a lot of different streaming platforms, and we've seen that happen, and we are even seeing more to happen this weekend and beyond as well. Globally, there's been a spike in the use of social media. Most media houses, like I said, have been using it, and not just social media, but other interconnecting technologies like Zoom. Anytime I tune on to Joy or TV, whatever the platform, everybody is using some form of technology to engage people, to talk about the subject. We've also seen a lot of these video on demand and streaming platforms and cable TV, such as Netflix and even DSTV, sort of giving us more flexible terms in terms of affordability of the packages they're offered. So it's a time that everybody has sort of understood the need to go digital, and a lot of people within the industry are thinking along those lines. And so far, I think it's worked.
If I leave you, I know you go on with all the things that you need to be done. But let me come to Mr. Quanta so we can quickly wrap up. This is a conversation I was hoping we could go on and on with. But how is Huawei Ghana hoping to propel enterprises during the post-COVID-19 season? Okay,
so let me start off with we have done a lot of donations to support the fight against the pandemic. Chief amongst them is in education. Our Huawei Academy has a work from study from home program, which has enrolled around 300 Ghanaian students to gain certification in networking.
Is it too late to enroll? I want to enroll. I'm sure
it's never too late. It's never too late to learn. So that is there, and we have also donated video conferencing tools and smart body temperature sensing cameras as well. On the other hand, we are also doing a lot with the service providers, sharing insights from a global and regional level to help them to plan adequately. We hope that post this COVID period, ICT will be an accelerator which can really push the economy forward, that can support the economy to grow. And we hope to see increasing applications in high-speed network connectivity, in digital health, and also in education. So we look forward to post-COVID.
We'll definitely have this conversation again. And Mr. Kwekwisman, we are grateful. He's the Chief Technical Officer, Career Business, Huawei Ghana. You also heard from Philip Ashon, and of course, Amiel Deborah. We'll have sports shortly after the break.